Hey everybody, just gonna release this little interview here. This is between us and the Red Room podcast, which is a podcast that talks about just general TV shows and the state of TV and things like that. And obviously they're named the Red Room podcast because they're huge Twin Peaks fans. So they sat down with us and talked to us about our podcast and released it on their feed, and we're releasing it on our feed as well. And this was done a few weeks ago. On their feed, actually, if you download the episode that has the interview with us, it's actually only the second half of that particular episode. The first half is their review of the Laura Palmer Diary. So you can listen to their thoughts on the book, and our own review of it will be out probably within the week. So enjoy.
Welcome to a crossover episode of the Red Room podcast and the Twin Peaks podcast. My name is Scott.
I'm Josh.
I'm Matt.
I'm Melanie.
I'm Brad.
And I'm Caitlin.
Hello, everyone. Our first question is, have you watched Firewalk with Me? Because we don't want to spoil it.
We have
No.
Okay, so we'll leave Firewalk with Me out of the discussion.
Well, Mel and I have watched it, but
Well, too bad.
Plug your ears, guys.
So, Caitlin, what did you think of the end of Twin Peaks?
The end of Twin Peaks was completely unexpected for me, and I felt it was kind of only half of what I wanted. The ending, it was completely bizarre as I wanted, but I felt kind of unfulfilled. I need more to Twin Peaks, and well, that's probably due to the cancellation of the series. But
And Brad, what did you think?
Yeah, I really enjoyed it. It was so interesting. It wasn't what I was expecting, which was good. I thought it was a really great place for it to have to end.
I think that it's hard to accept that it's over, and it's really hard to accept that our hero is taken over. But in the long run, in a lot of ways, it's my favorite episode, and it's so David Lynch that I love it.
Mm-hmm.
it's my favorite episode too, but it took me like a year to get over it.
Yeah.
I agree. I don't think you can comprehend the final episode in one viewing.
Mm-hmm.
Well, here we are 20 years later still talking about it. I mean, it's amazing.
Yeah.
I think that the final episode of Twin Peaks, the television show now, is one of the greatest statements of an artist against the television, mediocrity executive system, because they canceled it. And David Lynch says, okay, if you're going to cancel it, I'm going to blow this up so wide that you'll never be able to put it back together. You'll never be able to draw a frame around this show. And to me, that's the weapon of the artist, the final weapon.
Well, and it really, if you notice, and it's probably hard to get this on DVD, but I actually watched it when it was on the air. The front half of the final episode has a commercial almost every 5 minutes. Mm-hmm. And then the last 25 minutes, there's not a commercial.
Wow.
And that is not how network television works. You put the commercials in the end part of the hour.
Right.
And there's usually more there. So even that was against the networks.
Huh. I didn't know they were allowed to do that.
Yeah, he was probably the first one. I think Scott and I were just discussing this. Twin Peaks is like the Bob Dylan of television. Everything changed afterwards, and everything has to go through it to be made and be well today.
Mm-hmm.
Well, and it also played as a 2-hour movie, so that meant that there was really no commercials from like 10:40 till 11 o'clock. Mm-hmm. And, that's just usually the dead zone of a television show. So,
Right.
Mm.
So the people who had seen it before, what did you learn?
What did I learn? I learned that there's a lot more ridiculous things in this series than I remembered. Like, the first time I watched it, I was just totally into it. Well, I'm still totally into it, but I didn't look at anything, with a fine-tooth comb like we did. We went episode by episode, right? And we just described pretty much every scene in sequence. And you notice things when you do that. So we noticed how horrible of a cop Harry is. And, well, Cooper, Cooper isn't the best traditional agent either, but I still love him.
Right.
I think Brad has some problems with him.
I definitely do.
But and we all noticed that Hawk is the most amazing character on the show.
That really is true. I mean, Hawk is someone who never was ruined through the bad part of Twin Peaks. I mean, he really is kind of absent from my memory in that center section. Do you guys also dislike the center section of season 2, or?
Yes. Yeah.
Yes, but we found some things to enjoy.
Yeah.
How cute
What's
James'
another
hair
thing?
is.
What was that?
How cute James's hair is.
Oh, yes, definitely. No, it wasn't so bad going through it this time. We had Brad and Caitlin to watch it with us for the first time, and like we don't take such a we don't take our review super serious. Like, we review it, we say what we like, but we also aren't afraid to, be silly and just make fun of things if they're ridiculous. And there's a lot of ridiculous things in the middle of season 2.
Right.
So it's fun.
And if I remember correctly, you guys, I still haven't listened to your last episode yet, but you guys you come together, watch the episode, then come back and talk about it, right?
Well, we'll watch it separately, and then we come and talk about it.
Okay, on the same night, or just like asynchronously?
We give ourselves like a week. We all watch it at different times through the week.
Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm interested in that process because that's something we've never really done is comment on a whole episode on the podcast. It's more like globally, what are our feelings, that type of stuff. So I think it works both ways, and you guys have done a great job with that.
Thanks.
So what's some of the feedback that you've received from people?
It's mostly good. A few times we got some people who are really into the series and, cannot stand the least, criticism of it.
Yeah.
And they don't like our lighthearted review. They think we should analyze it in depth, dissect everything, not say a bad word about it. But I'm not capable of doing that. I'm not smart enough.
No, wait, hold on. I don't think you should besmirch yourself in such a way. The problem isn't so much that they want you to take it more seriously and you're not smart enough to do it. The problem is they have an unrealistic expectation of what they're in love with.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess.
And that leads people to strange corridors of complaining.
If you don't approach Twin Peaks with a light heart, I don't know if you'll make it out of it alive mentally because, at its core, it's dark. It's a dark show.
Mm-hmm. Well, and I mean, I think if you look at On the Air, which is the show that David Lynch and Mark Frost did afterwards, it was totally stupid and silly, and that's a part of both of them. Mm-hmm. I mean, they wouldn't have the stories in Twin Peaks that they'd have if it wasn't lighthearted. Mm-hmm. So I think that makes total sense.
I've met types like that at Star Trek conventions and stuff like that in the past, and they are a force to deal with for sure.
It's just awkward to speak to them. So easy to offend. But we've only got a few emails like that. 98% of them were all good.
Sure.
Well, I think it's because there is a love for Twin Peaks, and that's why it's lasted as long. And when you're going to poke those people, you're going to get some people that you're going to make angry. We haven't really angered anyone with our podcast.
We hope to this year.
It's breaking my heart.
Yeah.
Because do you guys read them online? Like, do you share the awful ones?
The emails?
I don't know, did we?
A couple times, maybe.
Maybe.
Because that's what I want. I want someone to send me an email telling me I'm a jerk and I'm stupid, and then I want to read it.
Well, we did get several back from our 50 greatest shows. We didn't include The Simpsons, and that really upset a lot of people.
Yeah, I was going to say your 50 greatest shows must have pissed off somebody.
It's so subjective. What do you do? Hey, have you guys read The Secret Diary of Laura Palmer or The Autobiography of Cooper yet? The books?
We're currently in the process of reading The Secret Diary of Laura Palmer.
Okay.
And yeah, we're going to do a show on that coming up, actually.
We're going to read that diary, and then we're going to watch Firewalk with Me.
Okay.
Because, I don't know, the first time I watched Firewalk with Me, I wasn't the biggest fan. I liked it, but after I read her diary, it really, and then I watched Firewalk with Me again, it really helped me to understand her character and her motivations more, and I got it the second time I watched it.
I mean, how could you put yourself in the body of a teenage girl besides that?
Besides reading her diary?
Yeah, exactly.
All her secrets?
Yeah.
Yeah, that it's an amazing piece of writing because you're exactly right. How do you do that? How can you even write like that? And this was 20 years before Twilight came around, and no one knew the secret inner thoughts of a girl who was in love with a dark vampire.
Yeah. I'm sorry, but I don't think like Bella.
I hope not. I hope nobody does.
I don't think I thought like her when I was a teenager. At least I hope not.
I would throw in the autobiography of Cooper in there prior to watching Fire Walk with Me. Also, there's some amazing little tidbits that come unleashed in that book too.
Yeah.
We were thinking about doing it after the movie, but
We
because I
could-
know people can't wait to watch the movie. So
Yeah.
Yes. Lord, don't make me wait any longer.
Yeah.
There isn't too much in the Cooper book. Mel and I have read it. There isn't too much in the Cooper book that pertains to the movie as much as it does the end of season 2.
Hold off a couple months, you'll be able to watch Fire Walk with Me on Blu-ray.
Yeah, is that a bare bones release?
They haven't said yet, which is making me more and more nervous.
But the sucky thing is if it is a bare bones release and we want a better one with deleted scenes, we'll have to buy the bare bones one because if the sales aren't good, they won't come out with another one.
Right. Well, I have purchased the Twin Peaks VHS, then the VHS log, then DVD season 1, then DVD here. Now I'm getting Blu-ray. I mean, Mark Frost has a shed in his backyard that I paid for.
You know, we had an interview with the Twin Peaks archive, and he said that one of the guys from CBS actually got to go into the Twin Peaks room in David Lynch's house,
Yeah.
and they had to sign the waiver and all that, and I'm like, that is a room I would love to see photos of. Holy cow.
You gotta wonder what's in there.
I do think that until you see Fire Walk with Me, the end episode doesn't make a lot of sense. But when you watch Fire Walk with Me, it really does tie the series together. And in a lot of ways, I like Fire Walk with Me better than the series.
I'm still trying to decide. It's every time I watch it, it grows on me more.
Yeah, I mean, and it's something that'll grow with you through life, I think. You know, I just watched Twin Peaks for the first time last year, and I'm already thinking about it constantly in relation to other shows that I watch. It's just amazing how well it's held up. So what are you guys' plans next for the podcast?
Well, after the Secret Diary of Laura Palmer review and the movie review, we'll probably do a series retrospective and maybe some season 3 speculation. That might all be one episode. I'm not sure.
Yep.
Then we're gonna then we might do the Cooper book, and then we'll probably review some Lynch films. I don't know if we'll do all of them. Some people want us to do an entire Lynch retrospective, but
That would be interesting.
What is your favorite David Lynch film outside of Twin Peaks?
Blue Velvet.
Blue Velvet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like Elephant Man too.
I like Blue Velvet, and I like Lost Highway. I don't know. A lot of people are down on Lost Highway, but
It's friggin' creepy.
and Wild at Heart. But I still haven't seen what most people consider his masterpiece or whatever, Mulholland Drive. I haven't seen it.
Me neither.
So
Well, first of all, I think a great movie to start with is Wild at Heart because it's basically a Twin Peaks episode. I mean, there's a load of the cast in Wild at Heart
yes,
from
it
Twin
was.
Peaks, and he made it at the same time. So,
Yeah.
but you do have to see Mulholland Drive because that probably. I mean, I love that movie. So, and that's another movie that was going to be a TV series. That Mulholland Drive was a pilot. So
Yeah, somebody posted the pilot on our Facebook group at one point.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, you can see the whole pilot, I think.
I don't want to watch it until I watch the movie though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it would just be weird to see it after seeing the movie because they're so different.
Oh yeah.
Is it different actors and everything?
No, it's just the concept behind it because very much like the European release of the Twin Peaks pilot, he had, it goes to a point and then there's an ending on it.
Oh,
And
okay.
when you see the Mulholland Drive movie that we know, it has an ending, whereas when you would see the pilot, it's to be continued because it's just a pilot. You know what I'm saying?
Interesting.
So, I don't know. I don't think I'd ever want to see the regular pilot. I just, I like the movie. I'll take the movie
You're
as
okay
it is.
with it?
Yeah. Because I don't want to ruin the ending, but when you see the end of Mulholland Drive, it informs what would be the pilot. So, I don't know. What's your overall experience on doing this and sort of getting a podcast out there in the world? It seems like you guys have been really, really successful.
I think one of the great things about doing the podcast in this style is that we've already sort of built ourselves a network. We've sort of joined a network of podcasts. And this is my first time doing a podcast ever, and watching a show I'd never seen before is really exciting. And for me, that makes it a lot easier to make a podcast because it's completely fresh. You have unlimited things to talk about. And as well, I think this podcast was sort of started up from the idea of another podcast that a few of us listened to called Potential Cast. And so we were basically adopted the idea of having newbies and old-time watchers of the show talk about it. And I think it's been a great experience. And we have a lot of feedback from our listeners, and it's always pretty dynamic each time.
Yeah, I would agree. I would say anybody expects to do a podcast about television and get a million hits a week. It's that's unrealistic. But if you even get 10 to 20 people that take it seriously and that appreciate and give you feedback on what you're doing, I think that's fantastic, and it's worth every second you put into it.
Matt, was it hard to not spoil it for them?
I don't think so, not really. What about you, Mel?
It wasn't hard for me, but it was just hard on us, I think, because we didn't know if other people would spoil it or if they'd decide to, just start talking about stuff, like especially in the feedback or on the Facebook group.
It was just more hard knowing that they were out there wandering around in this world full of spoilers.
Yeah. Scott was pretty good with the ritual. Our experience of watching it was probably a little different than you guys had because you were, geographically dispersed. So we have a weekly television night, and Scott would bring donuts, and we'd do coffee. We never did the pie.
Well, I have a rule that when you watch episode 8 and Cooper lays it all out, that you pause and you get donuts, and everyone has coffee and donuts when you watch that scene, because you just have all the donuts out there and you've got to do it. Did you guys do anything silly like that?
We made a pie. Well,
At the very last episode,
Melanie made a pie.
I made a pie, and Brad made a pie, I think, when he was watching the last episode.
Well, you made a
Glastonbury pie.
Yeah. Ah. It was cherries and
walnuts, I think.
Really?
It was like a cherry walnut pie.
Anyways, on the top she sliced in little sycamore trees and the puddle of engine oil smelling stuff, and we just called it
there's a
a
picture
Glastonbury
of it. There's
pie.
a picture of it floating around on the internet.
Yeah, it's on our blog. And Brad, you made something to do with Waldo the bird, didn't you?
Oh yeah.
I did. I made the Waldo donut one time.
Sprinkle some red cherry sauce on it.
Yeah, it was that, and I think some diced pluot to look like dead bird.
But that's great, though, that the show lends itself to that type of cult behavior. That's fantastic.
Do you guys have any desire to go to any of the Twin Peaks fests or any of that?
I definitely do, but it's so far away.
I've never gone, and I want to so badly.
Yeah.
And last year sounds like the year to go with Laura, Leland, Audrey.
And Cheryl and Finn.
I mean,
Yep.
Come on.
Yep.
I'm hoping. I guess we should start asking our listeners to
Fund
donate
our-
money. Send
fund our,
Josh and Scott to Twin Peaks.
Yeah.
We'll probably make it to St. Louis.
Maybe we should set up a PayPal account for ourselves.
Right. Hey, it's not a bad idea. You'd be surprised.
Yeah.
So, well, I want to thank you guys for your time. I think that your experiment has been very successful. We've enjoyed the shows we've listened to. I think when we go back to watch Twin Peaks again, we'll most likely start where you guys started, which is the beauty of the podcast, and then listen along with you guys. And you guys will be getting feedback on that for years, which is a
Yeah, I think that's what's going to be really cool about your guys' podcast is that throughout time, people are going to listen to it as they watch Twin Peaks again, and that's got to make you feel really good.
Sweet. Maybe I'll have a legacy that'll outlast me.
got it. You're now part of Twin Peaks lore. You should be on their Wikipedia page. Make that happen.
Yeah.
Scott got on their Wikipedia page because he got Mark Frost to admit that they were thinking about extras on the Firewalk with Me.
Oh, nice.
Yep, and that was really cool. I did just see that in LA in April they're doing a Fire Walk With Me art show, and that would be great.
Yeah.
And it's David Lynch, he's sponsoring it and everything.
Oh, wow.
Cool.
So that would be really cool. Well, thank you so much for your time, and we appreciate you getting the word of Twin Peaks out there and sharing a podcast with us. I think we're doing internet history here.
Yep.
Yeah. Thanks very much. I enjoy your podcast too.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you.